At its base layer, alchemy would be liberating the soul from its adhesion to matter, which in that case, at the lowest baseline, the adhesion to matter would be how much we are in our unconscious expression of the ego, right? Because as you would know, the ego can be in a conscious, it can be a healthy ego, and that it's not about obliterating the ego. It's about how aware, how integrated that ego is.
Yes.
Until it transforms into the self. So alchemy at that level of psychology would be body, mind, awareness. It would be something that, in my terminology, I would say is a part of a spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
There's no way to really divide alchemy from awakening, whatever it is, whether it's laboratory alchemy or homeopathy, spagyrics, all of its many different manifestations, it would be some form of awakening process, whether that's through purifying, which, as we know through the psyche, would be something, as you were talking about earlier, about healing crisis, or what I would consider a dark night of the soul, something that's awakening the consciousness, or at least giving us in our personal lives the ability to become more aware, which is what I'm calling awakened.
Which is what Jung calls individuation.
Yeah. So it's the individuation process. And a lot of times, I don't know if I'm getting ahead or not, because I do want to defend Jung. What I consider the alchemical journey is the backdrop to all of our lives, meaning that whether we participate in it or not, it's happening. We're a part of alchemical stages.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's, do we participate consciously or not?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're participating in it, we're going, oh, I'm noticing things and I'm becoming more aware. And then we go through this refinement, or we go through these different stages. And those different stages are ones that are what we could call purification. And so one of them might be one where we won't look at a dark night of the soul as a purification, but it is.
It is, absolutely.
It's making us challenge our beliefs.
Yes.
So this is alchemy at its, what I would consider, once again, its basic level. It would be just looking at our life and becoming more aware, or becoming more awakened through the different stages we're going through.
I would say a dark night of the soul is an inevitable confrontation with the blackening stage of the alchemical process, because that's what the dark night means, right? You now realize that the beliefs and your ways of relating have led you into this emptiness, this desert, this nihilistic view of yourself or your life or the world. And you are now confronted with the blackening out of which you have to, draw the spirit or the prima materia to work with, so that you actually can really come face to face with the question, who am I? And who do I choose to be in the world now? And if you don't answer that, then suicide's not far away.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that first stage that you're talking about, the blackening, or what in the 7 stages would be the one considered calcination.
Yes.
You're referring to Jungian's 4 stages, is known as the green lion.
Yeah.
It's literally the acid of the green lion, that was an acid, burning away everything that is not gold. And that gold will be, the seeds of the next stage, and then the seeds of the next stage, and the seeds of the next stage. And so it's to get to even gold consciousness, it goes through dark night of the soul. Then it goes through, after that, the purification of the emotional body. And specifically the emotional body is very targeted and oppressed in men, specifically that's their way of being able to control men through going through the alchemical process. For women, it would be something along the lines of the air stage. But so there's these different ways that life confronts us with the opportunity, but then also the challenge of something and it's ultimately for liberating, which is through the process, purification, and then integrating all these things that I don't think Jung was just interpreting through a psychological lens, like many people in this age are saying. Many academics are saying that, some even mystics. They're just saying, yeah, Jung put a psychological filter over alchemy. And I would say actually he was rectifying alchemy at such a fringe, obscure level that what we as a collective had been disconnected from, that by the time he was putting together alchemy and the different stages and then relating it to psychological processes, I do not believe he was putting simply alchemy in the setting of psychological terms. I think he was, in fact, restoring it back to its original meaning. And the reason why is because I know Sufi mystics who came from Sufi orders who were practicing the 7 stages of alchemy on their body, mind, spirit.
Yes. If you understand the processes of alchemy, you can see it in everything. You can see it in a garden. You can see it in your kitchen. You can see it in your sex life. You can see it in how you use money to create transformation and either lead yourself into crisis or into liberation. You can see it in politics. You can see it in the education system. Somebody who understands alchemy can see that everything's in a state of transformation. And when you understand that alchemy is really all about transformation, you can also recognize that when you're facing challenges in your life, that you can either embrace them, and by understanding the stages, you can say, okay, this is where I'm at. Now this is what I can do with this in order to get to the next stage of my own self-realization, conscious understanding, resolution of the challenge, and turn limitation into freedom, really. Without an understanding of alchemy, there's a lot of different systems out there that give you some kind of context. But I believe you could take every psychological system, every chemical system, every manufacturing system, basically anything in the world, because it ultimately all is alchemy.